On this edition of News Conference, California government gets a reality check as the governor announces cuts to programs following a downturn in revenues. Now a fight is brewing over Mr. Newsom's spending plan for K-12 education. Plus, the protests on college campuses caught the nation by surprise, in large part because there have been plenty of other deadlier conflicts in the Middle East that were ignored by students. Why? We talk with a professor of political science at UCLA, one who is, along with so many others, demanding that Chancellor Jean Block resign. A new poll out indicates a record number of Angelenos are thinking about leaving the city because of the cost of housing. What is being done, and is the high cost of rent and escalating home prices the new normal? And the California Supreme Court hears arguments over an effort by the governor and legislative Democrats to keep a measure off the ballot that would negatively impact their ability to raise taxes.
News Conference with Conan Nolan. Newsmakers, issues, impact. Your local political source for over 50 years and the longest-running broadcast in Southern California. Your host, Conan Nolan.
Good morning and welcome to the Tom Brokaw News Center here at Universal City. Thanks for joining us. In a moment, the semester of discontent on college campuses continues. But first, California depends on rich people to pay its bills. The top 1% pay about half of the income tax in this state. The top 10% of wage earners pay about 80%. So if they have a bad year, so too does the state treasury. And that is what has happened. Right now, Governor Gavin Newsom is facing his first major budget deficit. Programs will need to be cut. This was the governor on Friday.
What are the core services that we can maintain and continue to enhance versus the things that we'd like to do that are important? That's certainly one of them that right now we feel we're unable to do.
Governor says he wants to permanently close some 5 housing units at multiple California prisons. That will save some money. Among other areas slated for reductions, CalWorks, water and storage programs, $500 million from the Middle Class Scholarship Program, pausing the expansion of child care programs, and the planned food assistance program. The lion's share of state money goes to K-12 public education, so there's always a concern that schools will be receiving cuts. Troy Flint is the Chief Communications Officer for the California School Boards Association. He joins us from Sacramento. Thanks for taking the time. Give us your take on what you've heard from the governor. This is a $38 billion budget shortfall. Public education has to take a hit. What is your concern?
So we recognize that the governor was dealt a tough hand with these large budget deficits, but we feel he's making a risky and actually unconstitutional maneuver that threatens to destabilize public school funding for the foreseeable future. And we are going to fight vigorously against that to preserve funding for schools and the students we serve.
Why is it unconstitutional?
So this gets a little complicated, but to simplify, many years ago, the voters of California passed this proposition called Proposition 98, which basically dedicates a certain portion of revenue to public schools based on a complicated series of formulas. In most years, it works out to about 39% of the state budget goes to public schools. But they're trying to do an end around with an accounting gimmick where they take money that normally would be counted as public school funding and reclassify it as non-education funding. So if you reclassify funding as non-education funding, that lowers the baseline, which means that in future years, when you're building off that baseline, the schools get less for every year you go out into the future. So if this governor's proposition...
Let me interrupt you, though, because the governor says, listen, per pupil spending is going up.
Per pupil spending is up about $200 or less per student, and that's basically because of federal and local funding, not because of state allocation.
But you're saying that the hit will come down the road.
Hit will come in next year and every year after, as long as we can see into the foreseeable future, because you've lowered the baseline that is the foundation for the future year's calculations. So if this maneuver, which again, we feel is unconstitutional and we would probably challenge legally if the governor stays committed to it, if that happens, then every year for the rest of time, unless something changes, schools will receive less funding than they would have otherwise.
Let me ask you about one other thing. Overall, 46%, the last study that we've seen, 46.7% of students were at or above level for English language arts in California public schools. Just 34% met or exceeded the standard in math. Can you commit here that if you do get full funding, those numbers are going to improve? Because there's been real concern about schools being able to educate students in California. Too many are failing and not reading or computing at grade level.
100% agree. The concern is justified. Clearly, the numbers that we see are not acceptable. And this is a precarious time for public education as we're still dealing with the impacts of the pandemic, which are not just going to be a year or two or three or four. And we've been using funds, which are about to expire, COVID relief funds and other funds, to invest in strategies such as high-dose tutoring, before and after school programs, and other interventions which are starting to take hold, and to pull the rug out from under schools at a time when we are really in an area of desperate need is going to make those statistics even worse. So, yes, we need to make progress, and this budget is not the way to do it.
Troy Flint is with the California School Boards Association. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you.
We get the take on all this from Senator Roger Niello. He's the vice chair of the Senate Budget Committee, a Republican from Northern California and Sacramento County. So, Senator, thanks for taking the time. First of all, the governor has said this is a $38 billion budget deficit. But the Legislative Analyst's Office seems to say it's a lot bigger than that. What can we believe here?
Well, I think it makes more sense to put more stock in the assessment of a budget advisor than of a budget writer. There are different pressures involved, of course, and I believe that the governor is being unrealistically low with his deficit estimate, and that means that his solutions are going to shoot too low, which will just give more problems for us in out years.
Where else do we need to cut?
Well, the 3 or 4 budget years before the budget year that we're in right now had huge surpluses, and all of that money was spent. Now, a lot of it was spent on one-time expenses, which was a prudent thing to do. I think they should have put more money into reserves, but it also funded a significant amount of new spending. And I think we would be well served by looking into those programs, what outcomes they've had, and those that have been less effective. Those are the additional programs that we should look to reduce spending.
Senator Roger Niello is vice chair of the Senate Budget Committee, Republican from Northern California. Senator, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you very much. Good to be with you.
Up next, we got through the commencement at USC, but what about UCLA? And Gene Block, again, the faculty members want him to leave, despite the fact he's going to leave in July anyway, when we return.